Tonight, the city of Spokane considers allocating $100,000 to help families impacted by immigration enforcement. We talk with city leaders both for and against the proposal.
Another beautiful day in store tomorrow, but enjoy it. Clouds and cooler temperatures are back in the forecast.
And in just a few short days, downtown Wallace will transform into a snow town for this year's Extreme Ski Joring event. Tonight, we'll talk with the organizers. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. New today, an Airway Heights man involved in the killing of his girlfriend's adopted daughter was sentenced. Alexander Kamoyarov, the then boyfriend of Mandy Miller, pleaded guilty to murder, assault, and unlawful imprisonment as part of a plea deal. The judge sentenced him to 22 years. Prosecutors say Miller and her boyfriend repeatedly tortured and abused the girl before her death in 2022. Authorities say the two then transported her body across state lines in a rented U-Haul. Police arrested them in South Dakota last year. Mandy Miller was sentenced on Friday to 32 years in prison. The ACLU of Idaho is suing federal, state, and local law enforcement over a large immigration raid in Wilder this past fall. They're representing several Idaho families and children claiming they were violently and unlawfully detained during a community event. The ACLU says these agencies violated individuals' 4th and 14th Amendments, which have to do with unreasonable search and seizure, as well as a citizenship rights and equal protection under the law. The lawsuit is also asking a judge for class action status to be able to represent the hundreds of people who were at that event that day. Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown and some city council members are proposing $100,000 be allocated to support families impacted by immigration enforcement. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy tells us why some council members are against that move.
Well, the city says this aims to help immigrant families with expenses, while opponents argue the money is just not in the city's budget. Mayor Lisa Brown and several city council members say the money will help immigrant families who may have a member detained by immigration enforcement. If passed by council, the money would go towards the Spokane Immigrant Rights Coalition, also known as CIRC's Community Justice Fund, which assists families with housing, health care, and transportation.
This is money that will be able to help families who maybe don't have that breadwinner of the family able to support them. We know that it can break up families.
Aaron Hutt with the city says there was concern about the money going to CIRC during Spokane City Council's committee meeting last night, since they are not a 501c3 nonprofit. She clarified the funds will have the Spokane nonprofit Muslims for Community Action and Support act as CIRC's fiscal sponsor. That means the nonprofit will help manage where the money will go.
There was an informal competitive process, so we contacted a handful of organizations, and so CIRC was identified as the organization that would be best suited to handle those funds.
Councilmember Michael Cathcart says the money being on the table took him by surprise.
So I was frankly stunned and shocked.
He says he's against the funds going through due to the city projecting a $13 million deficit in its general fund, as well as what he says are unanswered questions into how CIRC was chosen.
I requested a full legal analysis by our legal team to help me understand what the impacts might be. Did they comply with all the appropriate procurement requirements? Is the source of the funding adequate or appropriate?
The City Council is expected to vote on the money at their meeting scheduled for February 23rd. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Today, Spokane County Commissioner Mary Brooks, formerly Mary Cooney, says she will not seek re-election. She served on the county for 9 years. She also served as chair of the Board of Commissioners for 5 consecutive years. Brooks said in a statement that she remains committed to serving voters until the last day of her term. All right, let's switch gears and talk weather on this Tuesday with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Joining us in the Outdoor Weather Center, 2 things, Jeremy. It's still light and still sunny.
Oh, man. Yeah, you nailed it. Back to you in the studio, Mark. I'm kidding. It's a beautiful evening out here. Still wondering why I'm wearing a coat, but I just keep putting it on out of habit. 44 degrees is where we currently sit. Sunset here. Yeah, it's basically going to be down by the time I'm done talking officially. But remember, sunset's calculated based off an artificial horizon. Your mountains or your valleys don't really play into the sunset we tell you about. It's always weird that way. Temperatures sitting in the mid-40s, pretty widespread. A beautiful evening. We are getting that break in the action between storms. We're under a trough instead of a ridge right now. And while that sounds really crazy or weathery, It basically means if we don't have a storm, we are going to see sun. And tomorrow brings more of it. We're talking nothing but sunshine for the day, and temperatures climbing back into the mid-40s before clouds build Thursday and Friday across the inland northwest. 46 tomorrow, but it is going to be a cold start to the day. The reason I don't think we hit 50 tomorrow is because the morning starts out so chilly. Then, well, temperatures fall back into the 40s Thursday and Friday before a chance of rain and mountain snow make their way back into the forecast this weekend.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show tonight. Well, the Zags set to take on WSU tonight in the Kennel, and while Gonzaga beat the Cougs earlier this season, WSU may now have a player that could flip the script. Locked On Zags, Andy Patton has more.
But the big storyline for Wazoo that's different from the last time these two teams met, Rihard Vavers, he's 6'7", small forward from Latvia. He did not play in this game last time between these two teams. He was dealing with an injury. I think he missed like I think he missed 3 games total, but he is Wazoo's second leading scorer and a very critical player for them to have back in the mix. He has also been flaming hot since returning from his injury. He returned the next game for Washington State after this game against Gonzaga back on the 15th of January. He's played in all 6. So he missed one other game. Then he came back. He's played in 6 of Wazoo's 7 games since then. And in those 6 games, he is averaging over 16 points per game, over 5 boards, 1.2 steals, 1 assist in about 29 minutes per game. And he is red hot. He's taken 10 two-pointers in that time. He's made 9 of them. So he's shooting 90% on twos. Again, 10 twos in 6 games is pretty clear evidence that he's not on the floor to take 2-point shots. He is on the floor to shoot from the perimeter. And shoot and score from the perimeter, that is what he does.
You can watch the rest of the Locked On Zags podcast right now over on KREM 2 Plus. Just download on your TV and watch for free. And tomorrow you can celebrate the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl win on KREM 2 Plus. Starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can watch coverage of the ceremony and the parade. The ceremony will start at 10 a.m. at Lumen Field. Then the parade will start at 11 a.m. Download KREM 2 Plus on your TV and watch for free. Coming up next on KREM 2 News at 5, more than a week after Nancy Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home, the FBI released surveillance pictures and video of a potential suspect. The latest on the investigation. And in just a few short days, downtown Wallace will transform into a snow town of sorts for this year's Extreme Ski Jor. We'll hear from event organizers coming up.